Okay, so yeah, so hey, what's up, guys? It's Singh here, and I'm here with Alex playing with fire. I'm sure everyone
Oh, bro,
knows.
how's it going?
Yeah, good man. I'm sure everyone knows who you are. So we've obviously gotten to know each other over past events. Recent events have happened, but I've known about you for a very long time because obviously I've been working behind the scenes with a lot of other guys, and I've always seen you as being a guy who's like also talking to these guys and just being in the space. And I've also watched you and listened to a lot of your advice on online games and stuff like that, and got a lot of concepts from you. So I want to just say thank you as well, before we get started, and thanks for all the videos that you've made and all the advice you've given guys, including myself. And yeah, man, appreciate that.
No worries, bro. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So I wanted to just ask you some questions, and
I feel like if anything, I should thank people like you because it's people like you that allow me to have a career just making videos and bullshitting on YouTube. So
yeah. No,
the thank the thank you goes both ways.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I think it's mutual, and I think that some of the stuff that you're sort of teaching as well, I think is very important in the grand scheme of things of like unsimplifying guys,
Mm,
because that's what like my sort of channel's about. It's all about like how men can wake up and become better men,
mhm,
and improve in different areas, and one of those areas being game as well.
mhm.
Um, so if you could just talk about your sort of your journey, like what were you like as a teenager? Were you getting a lot of girls? Can you tell me about some of that stuff?
Sure. So, you mean like what was I like? Okay, yeah. So, my results with girls were pretty atrocious most of my life. I
Yeah.
lost my virginity when I was 19, but didn't really start consistently getting laid until I was in my like early to mid 20s, like 22, 23.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I was really bad with girls growing up. Had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Um,
Yeah.
what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, it was just basically how like how you grew up and like how your story sort of relates to the average guy in the
Um,
West.
I think I had a pretty normal childhood. I had, great parents.
Yeah.
We're immigrants, so they kind of have a little bit of that like Russian immigrant
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents were great. Loved me. Um,
Yeah.
Only child. I moved
Yeah.
around a lot. I moved around a lot when I was a kid, so I was always like
Yeah.
the outsider.
Yeah.
I think that's
Can
yeah.
I just ask you a question about that? Sorry. So I noticed like obviously you have this sort of lifestyle that you have, right? And sometimes the guys in our space, I don't know if you've noticed, they come from like very weird childhoods. They have like very weird like stories, right? I don't know
Mhm.
if you've noticed this because I've noticed this
Yeah.
in work, just
Mhm.
working in the industry. It's like guys come from like this place where they were like absolutely like treated the worst and like they were bullied and all this stuff,
Mhm.
and then their success sort of comes from that sort of point from when they were young, right? So you wouldn't relate really to that because I wouldn't relate to that as well. So I find it weird sometimes when I have similar lifestyles to these guys, and I'm like, well, I'm doing this for way different reasons than you are. Do you ever feel like that, or is that like where do
Um,
you think it comes from? Like that
I think,
desire to like wanna,
well, because the worse your childhood is, the more likely you are to have issues socializing. So that totally makes sense.
yeah,
Um, I think overall, compared to like the average person in this industry, I had a pretty good childhood. I was never abused.
yeah,
Both my parents loved me. Two-parent household. Upper middle class. So I never really had to like struggle for money or for food.
yeah,
So all in all, I think that like like my childhood was a happy one.
yeah.
Um, the biggest issue I faced is that we moved around a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I went to like by the time I got to high school, I had already been through like 4 different schools, and that's just because
Oh,
my
okay.
parents kept
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
around.
Well,
So,
I have the same exact story, by the way, so that's crazy. But yeah,
yeah, so I feel like every time I moved to a new school, like,
yeah.
my self-esteem just went down a little bit, so I feel
Yeah,
like
because you have to start all over again, right? But for me,
yeah,
at the end of it, I sort of realized like it's also a way to like recreate yourself, and that's when I understood the idea of like sort of self development as well. Because it's like you can become this new guy. Like for example, when I was in one school, I used to wear glasses, and I was known as that like nerdy glasses kid. And then
mm,
in my next school, before I started going to that school, I was like, okay, I don't want to be known as that guy anymore. I'm gonna start by wearing contacts from day one, and then I just became that guy, and I also acted like that guy, and then you know what I mean? It's just like I learned
well,
over time that
looks like you're back to the nerdy glasses.
yeah, I'm back to glasses right now because I don't care
You
now.
kinda evolved.
At this point, I don't care how much how I like come across like physically sometimes, and like I can't. The message more is like guys need to like understand self discipline and patience and
Mm,
work on themselves rather than just like focus on outward appearance, because that stuff can be fixed very quickly. Like I can very easily sort my grooming out, sort all that stuff out in like in a week, but I can't go to the gym for 7 months straight in a week. That's sort of my message. So how important do you think self-development is then in terms of the bigger picture, like a holistic image when it comes to dating as a guy out there in the West? What's your opinions on that? How important do you think self-development is to game? And do you think
Well,
game?
it really depends on your starting point. If you already have
Yeah,
like good, healthy self-esteem, then I don't think it's important. If you have some self-esteem issues or you have some inner issues, then it's very important. So I think it completely depends on your starting point.
right. But you think game is a lot to do with like the whole picture in terms of attracting women and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think game is huge. I think game can make the difference between you hooking up with a lot of girls and you hooking up with 0 girls. If I look at like myself, yeah, like what was the difference between 18-year-old Alex and 32-year-old Alex? Game.
Yeah, yeah,
I put on some muscle, sure. Maybe I have healthier self-esteem, but the biggest
yeah,
difference is game. I didn't know game
yeah.
back then at all, and now I do.
And do you think that game has impacted on other parts of your life as well? Because for me, it's impacted my business. It's impacted a lot of other things. It's like how has that impacted your life as well? Like in other ways apart from just girls?
Yeah, I think it's impacted like every area of my life. It's made me more confident and also just understanding social dynamics. You can apply it like any situation. Like for example, when I met my girlfriend's mom, a few months ago,
Yeah,
she was like really nervous because apparently her mom was hard to please. But I
yeah,
was like, yeah, it's just another
yeah,
girl that I just got to,
yeah,
like fucking
yeah,
banter with. It was
yeah.
easy. So
Do you
yeah,
post do you post a lot of like relationship stuff, like vlogs and stuff with your girl, or no? It's more just
we do podcasts together, but I've never done a vlog.
all right. Okay, cool. Do you think it's important for guys to like because I don't think guys have enough good role models of how like a good male to female dynamic is.
Mhm.
And I think it's very important that guys who actually understand these dynamics show what it's like to have those relationships. Because a lot of guys, I have friends who think that when a woman's talking back to them, they sort of like that. They're like, oh no, that's a good thing, that's a good
Mhm.
quality. But I feel like that just comes from a lack of experience of dealing with enough women to know that's going to be a problem in the future. And then but the thing is like most guys don't have that perspective, right? Because they've not been through they have not been through enough girls to know what things are good to look for, what things are bad to look for, right? So so for you then, um sorry, I've lost my train of thought, but sorry.
You were
But yeah, if
talking
you just
something about like
carry
being
on, okay,
a
so
role
what's your
model or
let's
something.
let's sort of switch topics here then. So what's your I know you have this debate quite a lot, but I want to sort of get my opinion on this as well. What's
Okay.
your opinion on feminism in society? Do you think it's gone too far in the West, or do you think what's your opinions?
The short answer is probably yes. I think that there's different types of feminism and there's different waves of it. I've had people explain this to me in like various detail. But the short answer is overall, yeah. I think like the
Yeah,
point of feminism initially
yeah,
in the West was for equal rights for women,
yeah,
and that has been achieved. Like like
yeah,
decades ago, like women have all the same rights as men
yeah,
nowadays. So then it's kind of like a movement without really a cause. So it's like, oh shit, well let's fight with the patriarchy. Okay,
yeah,
like what specifically do you want to change? Oh, just the attitude.
yeah, yeah,
What law do you want to change? What institution do you want to,
yeah,
change? And there's
yeah.
never like an answer. It's
Well,
just like,
recently I did a video recently where I went out and I asked this question exactly, right. So I went out in the public in the UK and I asked people in a matriarchy what would be different. What would the man's role be in society? And then everyone said they would still do the hard jobs which they're doing now. And I said to them, if nothing changes, why would a matriarchy be better than a patriarchy? And they don't know how to answer that question because they don't think past level two, right? So um, so I know you had like a little beef thing with Sneeko. What are your opinions on him? What do you think about what he's
I
doing? And
wouldn't say I had like a beef with him. It was just that Sneeko was supposed to do my podcast and
yeah,
then like flaked last minute. Um, and then we rescheduled and then he did it again. But his excuses for flaking weren't like the excuses like I gave you, which is like, yo, man, can we
yeah,
move it around?
yeah,
It was like, yo, bro, I got invited in Fresh and Fit. They have more subs than you. Sorry. Just like this like blatant kind of like cloud
yeah,
chase.
yeah,
So that made me kind of like think like, this guy just the only thing this guy gives a shit about is clout.
Yeah. But do you think that might be from his perspective? It's like he's looking at where his message is going to be the most effective, and then he's sort of thinking, like he's just thinking purely analytically of like certain things. And the thing is, as guys, we usually think analytically as well, right? Like we usually decide based on logistics and facts rather than emotions. So he's probably thinking like you're very unemotionally attached to it as well, and you understand what the game is. Do you think maybe he's coming from that?
No, I mean, I think he's looking at it purely in terms of clout. Who's going to give him more clout? I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's like literally the only thing he gives a shit about, honestly.
yeah,
I mean, that's just kind of like what I've noticed how he operates, which is fine. There's a lot of people. We all care about clout to some extent.
yeah,
I care about clout to some extent, but I don't know. To me, my word is more important than like potentially
yeah,
getting more clout. Uh,
yeah,
but to him, that's not the case, right? Which is fine. He's not the only person like that.
yeah.
But I do think that some of his ideas are like really fucking dumb.
Like what?
The fact that he in one video he talks about how he got cucked, and then he tells that he thinks every guy should get cucked by their have their girlfriend get cucked. So being like he thinks every guy should let their girlfriend fuck another dude in front of them. And I'm like, dude, that's like
Can I play devil's advocate there? Can I argue his argument?
you can try. I don't know how, how
Yeah.
one can argue that.
I'll
Like
say
arguing
okay.
for the Holocaust.
This is how I defend him. The thing is like I know he's young, right? He was like 18 or something, 19 when he said that. And that video, that specifically the one that you're talking about, that was like way before he got famous as well. And
No, 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 no. That's not true.
no, no, not way before he got famous. That was on the it was on the podcast, right? With those other dudes. Forgot their names. AMS. No, not AMS.
Yeah, but that podcast was only 9 months ago.
Yeah, but that was like before he really popped off, in the like RP space. Like before that, he was just famous as a creator. Like I was watching his creative videos, so I know like his So he was still big, but he was like 1 million, but he wasn't at 10 million. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like that. So he hadn't blown off in that sort of space yet. And he admits to being wrong in that situation. Like he's said many times, like he doesn't agree with past him about the cucking stuff and like.
I mean, bro, when I was at like 100 subs, I knew enough not to let my girlfriend get fucked by another dude.
Yeah, true.
I don't know how like clout.
I think for him it's like
if you have to gain like 1 million subs to realize that, then I think there's something wrong with you.
The thing is, he's like young, right? So he's still brainwashed by this equality mentality. Because even I had it at the start. I was like, nah, if I'm doing this thing, females should be able to, if I'm going to sleep with a lot of women, they should be allowed to sleep with a lot of men. But I think as you progress, you realize the difference between value that we hold and the dynamic of the relationship. And then you understand it's sort of okay for you. Because the thing is, even your relationship, right? Isn't it open on your side and closed on hers? Or how does it work with you?
Yeah, exactly. It's open on
So
my
it's
side.
like, so it's the same as like how it would be, right? But I think you need to get to enough experience and know your worth as a man before you can really have that as a standard. Because
Sure. But I think it's different than being like, I think there's a big difference between being in like a regular open relationship and like literally sitting there while your girlfriend gets fucked by another guy. His exact words were, "It was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life."
Yeah,
and
but
then he goes on to say, "I think every guy should do it." Like, So
but like
you
can just imagine that in a room, like being with your friends, and then your friends being like, you're just trying to argue your point. Like how when you have like a bad take with you and your friends, and then you just try and defend it. It's like that sort of vibe. It wasn't like he's not saying, oh yeah, every guy should do it. Like seriously, just saying like he doesn't want to lose that battle in that friend group situation. That's what I sort of took it as. But I think right now he would still say like, yeah, he'd probably be like, yeah, don't do that. Like you realize now the importance, the value of a man.
But did he change his opinion because he legitimately changed his opinion, or did he change his opinion because of all the backlash he got on the internet?
Well, no, he changed his opinion because of he tried it out. He tried out like all the other ways because he had a relationship with this girl and he's broke up with this girl like 14 times, and then right now he's got in a relationship with that girl again, and it's a completely different dynamic now. So before before it was open that time like 9 months ago, he tried it out, he didn't like it. And then he closed it again on her side and kept it open for him. So he has the same relationship as you, as me. But I think that's like but his opinion has changed on that. He doesn't. I don't think he backs that. And like as a guy, you just naturally get older. Because the thing is, I can see where he's coming from, right? Because he's younger and he got older, and then he realized his ways were wrong when he was young.
Yeah, people are allowed to change their opinions as they get older, but this was 9 months ago. Like this wasn't like
but I think it's
18-year-old Sneeko. This was literally 9 months ago. Like, so if 9 months ago he was giving really, really bad dating advice, then how are we to think that only 9 months later his dating advice is going to be good? I mean, this is not
Because
the
I've
only
had crazy growth in 9 months. That's why. Because I've experienced crazy growth in
Yeah, but
relationships.
9 months ago, do you think it's a good idea to watch your girlfriend get fucked by another dude?
No,
Okay,
but
well, there's a difference between like having
yeah,
crazy growth. Okay, this is like it's something really extreme. Like this is like thinking that, oh, 9 months ago, I used to think that you know, calling black people the N-word was okay. Now I don't. It's like, well, dude, like
no.
that's
But the thing is, okay,
like why did you think
let's give
why did
him
you think
his.
that in the first place? Like
He,
that's
he
like
didn't. He didn't say it was like he wasn't advising it, dude. Like it wasn't like he
I
wasn't
mean
giving
his
advice.
exact words in the podcast where I think everyone should do it.
Yeah, but that wasn't what like he's advising guys. And if you sat down with him and you had a conversation with him, you knew he wouldn't be like, oh yeah, it's the best thing I've ever done. Like you knew
Okay,
he'd be like,
dude,
yeah, I really,
maybe if this was just like a one-off incident, then sure, I
yeah, it
can.
was a one-off incident. He said that.
No, but the thing is, it's not. He has a whole bunch of other things. Like he accused
Oh,
this.
does he?
Okay, one was when he accused this other content creator of threatening to rape his girlfriend. That was like documented, proven to be just extremely false. So Sneeko just completely made up this claim that this content creator he was beefing with
Oh,
threatened to rape his girlfriend.
that's made
So
up.
100% made up, yeah.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
so that was kind of also fairly recently. So that was like, okay, dude. I mean, he has a lot of really cringe takes when it comes to. He believes in like every conspiracy theory. I asked him when he was on my channel, "Do you think the moon landing was fake?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like he literally believes in every single conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
He thinks
But does
9/11
he have
was fake.
reasons to back out? Like, would he argue the case for it or no? Like, is he one of those guys that will actually argue for it or no? Because you can do research on that shit and then sort of have arguments, but
I mean, this was like 2 months ago that he told me he thinks the moon landing is fake. I mean, he believes in like every conspiracy theory ever. I said that like Sneeko, you believe in every
yeah,
conspiracy theory ever.
yeah,
He's like what? I'm like, I bet you believe the moon landing was fake. He's like, well, I mean, like, yeah, dude, they did shoot they shot that in New Mexico. I was like,
yeah,
oh, so like you literally believe every single
yeah,
conspiracy theory
yeah.
ever.
Okay, this is my take on Sneeko, right? Like, I'm 25, so I'm older than him, and I feel like with age you learn a lot. So I know exactly where he is right now in terms. I can just see it, and then I know where he's going to be in a couple of
When,
years. I
when,
can see
when
it.
I was 8 years old, I knew the moon landing wasn't fake. I mean, like this is like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
like
mean, no, but like he's in this world right now. He's like absorbing all that stuff. So it's like he's gonna get some stuff that's wrong as well. That's what I mean. Like
but
he's just
it seems like he
when
just
your
gets
eyes
everything
open
wrong.
and you wake up and then you see everything. It's like that as a
Yeah,
kid.
dude, I think this guy. Okay, we got a guy who's like fairly unintelligent, in my opinion. I think
Yeah,
he's kind of dumb. Who believes in like every cringy conspiracy theory? Who makes shit up about people threatening to rape their girlfriend? Who 9 months ago thought it was a good idea to watch their girlfriend get fucked by
okay.
another dude? Who literally seems to only care about clout. Who most content creators seem to have
Yeah.
bad experiences with, from what
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like he just like acts weird. So it's like
I think I must have just a thing for defending people that are in the wrong.
what the fuck does this guy have to offer like, to the YouTube
Yeah.
community? Well,
Yeah.
first of
You
all,
know
he's not
what?
on YouTube. But
Yeah.
what the fuck does he have to offer as a content creator?
Yeah.
Like just
I feel
besides reciting like cringy conspiracy theories.
Yeah, for
Or,
me, it's like because I think I relate to him on a level before all this stuff. Like before all the RP stuff, he was done like video editing, videography, creative stuff, and I was
Mhm.
following him since then. So I sort of knew his come up, and that's why I think I'm on his side more. But I see what you're saying. Like I meet a lot more people with your perspective on him than I do with mine. So that's fair enough. I'm trying to find.
I,
I'm trying to find
I
where.
also think he's like basically trying to rip off like the Andrew Tate. Like he's literally copying Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
I said, dude, like you're like Sneeko. Let's just be honest. You're
yeah.
copying Andrew Tate's strategy, and he's like, yeah. Like
He
so
said
he's
that.
not denying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Wow.
he's just basically trying to do like I think Sneeko is someone who doesn't really have integrity or like their
Yeah,
own original ideas, and he just cares about like fucking getting as much attention and clout as possible, which
yeah,
is why he's not gonna like his ideas aren't things that he legitimately thought out about. They're just things that he thinks that the world wants to hear, which is why he's been like going really hard on like just basically like I asked him also is can you name one thing that you disagree with Andrew Tate on?
yeah.
Couldn't do it. Or no, he named one thing that was like super random that actually didn't have any, but he could only name like one thing.
Yeah.
I have like the million things that Andrew Tate says that you could disagree with.
What's something you disagree with Andrew Tate on? I want to hear that.
I mean, where the fuck do we even begin? I mean, I think
Oh my god! Let's get into it.
I think Andrew Tate is like way too materialistic, way too material oriented. I think that pursuing like wealth to that extent is not really going to make you happy. I mean, money's good. I'll make as
But
much
he
money.
doesn't promote that. Do you think? Well, I guess he does. Yeah, he says
I
get
mean,
out of the matrix, right? That's his thing.
he literally talks about like
Getting
his
out of the matrix.
money and
Yeah.
just materialistic things nonstop, like
Yeah.
non fucking stop. I think another thing is Andrew Tate kind of has this idea that women should be protected from themselves, which I think is pretty dumb. Just don't fucking date girls who are like not mature. I think he really overvalues like virginity and stuff like that. To the point where it's like, dude, if you meet a girl who's like 30 and she's a virgin, that's not a good thing. I think that's a bad thing because that means probably she has a whole bunch of weird shit around sex.
Well, that's a 30-year-old, not a 20-year-old. That's what he's probably talking about, a 20-year-old virgin or 18-year-old.
Okay, but I would argue as like a 35 man, you probably not fuck 18-year-old girls, sure, but probably not the best idea to date an 18-year-old girl.
Well,
Like,
it depends, I think, because some parts of the world, I think 18-year-old girls are very like they're more intelligent and they're more. I think they're different. Like he's used to girls in Romania, and I know from experience, Eastern European 18-year-olds are different from Eastern Europeans. I mean, from 18-year-olds in the West.
yeah, I mean, I think like if you're a man in your late 30s, the ideal range might be like mid 20s. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, date a girl who's like really hot and young, but like at the very least, a girl who finished college and has some like life experience. Again,
Well,
I don't think
that's not a requirement. I don't think. Like college is going to make her a better girl. Do you think college is going to make her a better woman?
No, it has nothing to do with college. It more has to do with the fact that the girl has life experience. Like an 18-year-old girl, all they're thinking about is partying, like where to get drunk, where to get fucked up, going to the club.
But do you accept that 18-year-olds in different places have different ideals and different upbringing? Sorry, I'm just charging my laptop as well.
To some extent, but I think an 18-year-old girl is going to be young as fuck anywhere. Yeah, sure. Maybe in Europe she's a little bit more mature, but she's still fucking 18. Your brain doesn't even finish developing until you're like 26, 27. So it's biologically impossible for her to be as developed as someone in their mid 20s. So yeah, culture plays a role, but 18-year-old girl is going to be pretty fucking like young. Again, nothing wrong with fucking an 18-year-old. I just personally don't think it's a good idea to date one. But this kind of comes down to personal preference, so I won't fault him on that one.
And also, isn't materialism, isn't that sort of personal preference as well? Because he's just saying get filthy rich. The way he spent, like, is he really promoting materialism, or is he promoting just getting guys out of the matrix and sort of using the illusion of money as a way to help these guys?
Well, first of all, if the whole matrix thing is like kind of cringe, but if anything, he's part of the matrix. He's just taking them from one matrix and putting them in another one. Like he wants the guys to give him money, right? For Hustlers University, then for what the fuck the second program is the War Room.
I don't know his programs, but yeah,
the War Room is 5,000, and then once you get in the War Room, there's actually different levels of it, right? So if you want, like for example, do you want a coaching call with him, or you want like the more elite?
No. Thing is, we both know it's a business scheme, right? Like as guys who are in the industry, we know what he's doing. We see we're like giving him.
Right, so it's just like taking them from one matrix and putting them in a different matrix. Like I don't see, like there's no unplugging from the matrix.
Like, my sort of thing,
unless you move to the mountains and like live in like a fucking as a Buddhist or something like that. That's how you plug from the matrix. Everything else, you're still in the quote unquote matrix. So I think it's like a kind of disgenuine analogy.
Yeah, I agree with that. What's your opinion on spirituality and stuff like that? Like, what's your like?
Well, I know with Andrew Tate, he's just become recently. I believe he's converted to Islam, which is super fucking weird to me. What do I think about spirituality? I don't know. I think most of it is kind of cringe. I mean, I think that organized religion is really dumb. I think if you want to, like follow something, you believe in like the universe or, maybe a intelligent creator, but, you don't follow any organized religion. I think that's fine. But if you're like living by these arbitrary rules that people 2,000 years ago came up with, I mean, I think it's kind of
with the arbitrary rules point. What would you think about religion, which said instead of giving you rules based on like you should not do this, you should not do this, we're going to give you ethics-based rules. So like rules like you should be compassionate, you should avoid not having this quality. What if that was the rule book instead? would that be a better way to bypass the arbitrary rules that you just mentioned? Or
Yeah, sure. That would be like a million times better.
yeah, because okay, so that's interesting because that's something that like my religion, Sikhism, talks about, and I think this is a sort of topic that not a lot of people know about at all. Even though the size of the religion is quite big, it's the philosophies are very unknown. Like, have you heard of Sikhism, or do you know anything about it? Or
I've heard of it. My question is, why do the Sikhs wear like those funny hats?
yeah, the turbans, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically the reason is it's because it's like a form of respect for their hair. So basically, back in the day in India, like only the upper class people could wear turbans because it was like reserved for the upper class, right? And then
Mhm.
Sikhism's like, fuck all this class shit. Everyone's equal. We all have like God inside of us, right? We should all meditate and whatever and become good people and be kind to people. And then it's like everyone. So the rule was given to all Sikhs to wear a turban because you're not lower than anyone else. So it doesn't
Mhm.
matter what caste you are because I don't know how much you know about the caste system in India, but it's a really big.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Sikhism came in to solve. It was like get rid of the caste system, give them a spiritual path, and then give them the true
Sure.
way.
But,
Because
but my question is, why wear the hat now?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So the hat is just a symbol of faith, and because in India because Sikhs have a very big thing on like being able to be recognized because they're sort of seen as the police officers and the defenders of faith in India. Like there's a saying in India, for example, that when a Sikh guy gets onto a bus, everyone can take a breath of relief because that they know that guy's duty by religion is to like protect other people. So if something was to happen on that bus, say like a guy with a gun or a knife comes, that Sikh guy is like
mhm.
by duty of religion supposed to defend those people, and he's also given like a knife and stuff. Like I don't know if you know this, but all Sikhs are allowed like by law in the UK and I think in the US to carry knives with them, like
Oh,
around streets and stuff, just because that's part of our religion. It's built in. Like you have to be able to fight and also protect others as well as being a saint and focus on like spirituality side of it. So it's super interesting stuff, and it goes into like a science-based meditation, which is proven today as well. Like I don't know if you've heard of Kundalini yoga.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so the founder of Kundalini yoga is actually Sikh, and he learned everything he learned from the Sikh traditions, basically. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I gotta be honest. I really don't know enough about the Sikh religion to either criticize it
No,
or.
no, no, yeah, that's
That's
totally
just
fine.
like,
I'm just exposing you to some ideas that I think like it bypasses a lot of criticism people have for organized religion today. That I think,
um, yeah. Everything you've told me so far sounds like pretty good. Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
that,
I don't know. I'm sure there's like some kind of like secret shit that you're not telling me, but I just don't
yeah,
know what it is.
no,
I can like criticize like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism very competently, but the other religions like
yeah,
Buddhism and Sikhism, I just don't know enough about
yeah,
to like making it to have like an informed opinion.
yeah. So I'm
Um,
sort of trying to find areas that we sort of disagree on because I feel like on most of the RP stuff we're kind of we have the same opinion on the feminism stuff. So what would you advise
do you
guys?
want to? Because I guess start my podcast. Do you want to just jump on mine and we can continue this conversation there?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. That'd be dope.
All right, cool. Let me so I'll email you the link. Yeah, because I don't want to keep the guys waiting.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, we'll just go until I think we'll have another 20 minutes until the girl comes on for speed
Okay.
dating. So let me email you the shit. Oh, okay, I see your but yeah, just request. Let's just also just make sure we don't bring up the you know what on there.
Yeah. Voldemort.
Yeah. I sent you the link.
Okay.
All right, cool. I'll see you on there, buddy.
All right. See ya. Thanks.